Have you ever found yourself saying, I thought I already healed this? Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was self doubt. Maybe it was people pleasing. Or maybe it was anxiety or fear of being rejected. You worked on it. You understood it. You learned from it. And you thought you had moved beyond it. And then one day, something happens. Conversation, a relationship, a disappointment, a criticism, and suddenly you're feeling exactly the same way you felt years ago. The same emotions, the same reactions, the same internal struggle. And you begin wondering, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep repeating the same emotional patterns even when I know better? So today I want to explore an answer that completely changed the way that I understood healing. Because what if the issue isn't that you are failing to heal? And if we haven't met yet, my name is Tina Brigitini. Remember to like and subscribe so that you get future videos. What if the issue is that you've been trying to change the pattern without understanding what created it? See, most people assume repeating patterns is a sign of weakness, a lack of discipline, a lack of awareness, a lack of growth. But what if these patterns are actually intelligent adaptations? What if they are not evidence that something is wrong with you? What if they're evidence that something happened to you? And what if understanding that changes everything? See, one of the most common questions that I hear from people is, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep ending up in the same kind of relationship? Why do I keep doubting myself? Why do I keep feeling responsible for everyone else? Or why do I keep abandoning myself? Or why do I keep returning to the same emotional pain? So, different stories, different circumstances, different people. Yet somehow the emotional experience feels remarkably familiar. And that's the clue. Because what repeats isn't usually the situation, what repeats is the pattern. And most people focus on events, the breakup, the disappointment, the argument, the rejection, the betrayal, the loss. Those events do matter. But healing often becomes difficult because we become focused on what happened rather than what became organized around what happened. See, life experiences don't simply create memories, they create adaptations. And adaptations have one goal, and that is to protect us. And if you've ever touched a hot stove, your body learns something. If you've ever been emotionally hurt, your system learns something. If you've ever experienced criticism, abandonment, rejection, loss, or instability, your system learns something. And often those lessons become the lens through which future experiences are interpreted. See, most emotional patterns don't begin in adulthood. Adulthood simply reveals them. Many patterns begin long before we have words to describe them. A child who grows up in uncertainty may become hypervigilant. A child who feels unseen may become a people pleaser. A child who experiences criticism may become a perfectionist. A child who experiences abandonment may become fearful of intimacy. At the time, these responses made sense. They're adaptive, they're intelligent, they're helping the child navigate the environment that they live in. The problem is that many of those adaptations continue operating long after the original environment has changed. And here's where things become interesting. See, most people believe they seek happiness, but biologically and energetically, we often seek what's familiar because what's familiar feels predictable. Predictable feels safer than uncertainty. And even when familiar patterns create pain, this is why people sometimes find themselves attracted to the same kinds of relationships, the same emotional dynamics, the same conflicts, the same disappointments. Not because they want suffering, because the system recognizes something familiar. And familiar often feels safer than the unknown. And this is why understanding a pattern doesn't automatically change it. You can know exactly why you're struggling. You can identify the pattern. You can talk about the pattern. You can journal about the pattern. You can even teach the pattern, yet still find yourself repeating it. Why? Because awareness occurs at one level. Patterns often operate at a deeper level. The nervous system has learned something. The emotional system has learned something. The energetic system has learned something. And those systems don't simply change because we understand them intellectually. They change through new experiences. So one of the things I've observed over many years of working with people is that experiences don't just leave memories. They leave organization. The energy system begins organizing around what was learned. The nervous system begins organizing around what was learned. Expectations begin organizing around what was learned. And before long, the person begins seeing life through those patterns. If you expect rejection, you notice signs of rejection. If you expect disappointment, you notice signs of disappointment. If you expect abandonment, you notice signs of abandonment. Not because you're imagining them, because your system has become organized around them. And this is where many people misunderstand healing. Healing isn't forgetting. Healing isn't pretending something didn't happen. Healing isn't forcing positivity. Healing is reorganization. It's teaching the system that new possibilities exist. It's allowing new experiences to become stronger than the old expectation. It's helping the nervous system recognize that the danger may no longer be present. It's helping the energy stop organizing around experiences that have already ended. And that takes time. It's not because you're broken, because adaptation is powerful. Instead of asking, why do I keep doing this? Try asking, what is this pattern trying to protect me from? And that question changes everything because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're becoming curious about yourself. You're beginning to understand the intelligence behind the pattern. And once you understand the purpose of a pattern, healing becomes much easier. Now, if you take one thing away from today's video, let it be this: repeating patterns are not evidence that you have failed. They're evidence that part of your system is still operating from an older experience. The goal is not to judge the pattern. The goal is to understand it, because understanding creates awareness, and awareness creates possibility. And possibility is what creates change. So the moment you stop fighting the pattern and start understanding it, healing begins moving in a very different direction. And in our next video, we're going to explore another question many people struggle with, and that is why letting go feels so difficult. even when a part of you desperately wants to move forward. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.